Notre Dame absolutely annihilates Florida State, and people have finally found out this is not the same Notre Dame Fighting Irish squad from September 7th.
Inside the 20, inside the 10, he's going in! Notre Dame has scored!
Go, 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 go!
You will be that driving force to motivate those coaches and those players to beat Southern Cal.
Notre Dame is relevant again.
The 20, the 10, fire, rocket, touchdown!
Notre Dame is number one.
It's a game of who's going to flinch first. We know that isn't going to be Notre Dame.
Hello again, everybody. I'm Landon Traylor, joined by Dylan Kearns and John Richards. Hey, the Cavaliers, 11-0. Who would have thought that? Who would have thought the Cleveland Cavaliers? Let them know. You follow JR on Twitter, every game. Let them know. Hashtag Lears.
Lears, baby.
Well, the Irish rolled Florida State on Saturday night in South Bend under the lights at Notre Dame Stadium, 52-3.
Play action. First one for Leonard. What a cut. Leonard inside the red zone. Leonard down the sideline. Leonard airborne. Touchdown. What an effort from the quarterback. Raritan, the tight end, in motion. Price the handoff up the middle. Oh, there goes Price. He's got speed. Price. Can he beat him to the end zone? No, he's out of bounds. Just barely. 61 yards on the gas for Jadarian Price. First and goal, Irish.
Ruling on the field as the ball carrier was out of bounds at the 4-yard line.
Watch the double team right there. That's the key block. You get a nice block by the wide receiver, Bo Collins, number 5. And then the speed of Price. Now, Bo Collins came over from Clemson. He's been the leading receiver.
66 in their week 3 drubbing at Purdue. 10th play of the drive for Florida State. Glenn picked off. Step right in front. Luke Tullich. Can he go? Foot race. Glenn won't catch him. Touchdown. Pick 6, Notre Dame.
Florida State is now the 6th team that Notre Dame has handed its worst loss of the 2024 season to. Every win, 6 out of the 8 wins we have been in blowout fashion that have been the worst loss of the season for those squads. This game was pure domination, Dylan. I mean, from start to finish, it was a little sloppy at first, yes, but overall, it was pure domination.
Yeah, it was. And this was a game, I mean, like you said, a little bit sloppy at start. I mean, I was sitting there watching the game and I'm like, man, when are we going to turn it on? Like, is this going to be one of those, I know they're a good historical program. Are they going to play us well now under the lights? But we showed that we're the better team. I mean, light years. That Brock Glenn is one of the worst quarterbacks I've seen. 51 yards and 2 picks. I thought Mac Jones was bad yesterday. I mean, seriously, I mean, this guy was terrible. So the Notre Dame defense showed up. I thought they were cracking a little bit to start the game. They gave up the quick 3. They let them drive a little bit. But after that, they sort of locked it in and started making plays and playing Irish football on the defensive side, which they've done all season long. I like the way that Freeman likes to pour it on. Like when he gets going and he gets like he knows he has a superior advantage. He doesn't just, off the brakes. Like he keeps going. He pushes hard and fights. I mean, that's why we have a lopsided whooping of an ACC powerhouse just a year ago. So I know it's a different team. I know it's a different season, but the Irish are rolling right now, and people gotta get off the tracks before Choo-Choo comes and rolls them over.
Choo-Choo, the Boilers?
No.
Okay. Thought you were on the Purdue train again, like you were a couple weeks ago in the week we played them. The Irish outgained Free Shoe U 453-208. Riley Mills was playing with his head on fire with 3 sacks. In total, the defense had 8 sacks. JR, you said it on last Tuesday, I believe. This game isn't about Florida State. It's not about their record. It's about us and what we can do. You pleased with what you saw on Saturday night?
Yeah, I'm mostly pleased that it was a 4-quarter effort, and my prediction was close. I said -3. That should have been -3 the way that they play. Man, have you seen what has happened to Florida State since? I mean, they cleaned house last night. They fired pretty much their entire staff. both coordinators, some other position coaches and whatnot.
Coach.
Yeah, so free shoe you. Thankful we're not them. You could see how quickly these things can change. Look at a team like Florida State. They were undefeated last year, and now they've got one win. The team like Indiana last year, now they might be in the playoffs. It's the bizarro world, you guys. It's crazy, but I do like where Notre Dame is right now, especially where the defense is. The offense is making just enough plays. They continue to grow. I do like where we're at. We're especially if we may fall in the range up against some of the opponents that we could play. I wouldn't mind going to Penn State. I'll just say that right now. I wouldn't mind going to Penn State.
I think we'd be road favorites, in my opinion. At least we should be. I think we can handle Penn State with the way that offense looks, and compared to our defense. Riley Leonard went 14 of 27 for 215 yards and a touchdown, 70 rush yards, and 2 rushing touchdowns on the night, including a diving touchdown. That was pretty cool to see. Jadarian Price led the Irish with 7 carries, 95 yards, and a touchdown. One of them was 65 yards to the house. Jeremiah Love extended his rushing touchdown streak to 9 games in a row. He scored a touchdown in every single game that we have played this season. Mitchell Evans it was good to see Mitchell Evans get involved. He had a beautiful catch that was ruled not a catch because it hit the turf. And then Jaden Greathouse with a great game as well for Notre Dame. The Irish forced 2 interceptions, including a pick 6 at the end of that ball game, and they held Florida State to 88 yards through the air, And at FSU, the only negative that I have to point out about Saturday night's game, Florida State was able to get a season-high rush yards against the Irish with 120. JR, that's kind of a thing where, okay, you're going to beat us. If you're going to beat us, you're going to beat us on the ground. And we were okay with giving them 120 rush yards, I think.
Yeah, we've got a lot of space that they can play in between the 20s and keep them in front. Don't give up any big plays. They had really no passing game at all. What were their 2 quarterbacks combined? 2 for
88 yards combined.
Yeah, I mean, at one point I thought I heard they were 2 for 11 for 4 yards or something crazy like that. And that was late into the third quarter. So, we need Howard Cross back. That's going to be an important player that we need against Army and USC and Virginia. But all in all, Golden, he does a great, great job. I don't know if you saw some of the comments that Denbrock made this past week about, going up against an Al Golden defense every week in practice, day after day. And it really has made him a better coach as well. So, if we're going to do any damage in this, it's going to be with our defense. So let's keep riding them out.
Absolutely. Dylan, thoughts on that with the defense?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, going back to it, we're still a little depleted. You lose.
Very.
Very. I mean, in terms of, we have big-time players that are out for the year, but still a little depleted when it comes to healthy players that can come back. Right. I still think that there's room for growth there. But I told you, I don't want to tease tomorrow too much. Logan back tomorrow, by the way.
Yeah, should be
Logan back. Perfect. He can ride his picks into the sunset as he fades away, a terrible season like me. But anyway, I don't want to tease too much, but I'm scared for next week. I've always said Virginia, they went out and beat Pitt. So, I mean, this is a game you can't sleepwalk through. But going back to the defensive side, I do have questions. They were able to run the ball very well. They picked up first downs ad nauseum, especially to start the game, that I was a little confused about. I'm like, why can't we stop the run? I know they have athletes over there, and I was a little concerned about that. But, I think at the end of the day, this is another great performance from Notre Dame's defense. They've led top 5 in the entire world when it comes to, rushing statistic, or not rushing statistics, but defense in general, fewest points allowed. They have been very, very solid throughout the course of the year. So I think another thing that's been noted is the depth that's been tested has been solid so far this year as well. So I like the depth. They've been able to show up and play well. I think it
It's
worked against a team like Florida State, but I do have questions going in. It's good to get the experience now in case they have to play later on into the playoff. If we, I mean, God willing, we get there. But I mean, at the same time, it'd be nice to get these guys back.
absolutely. I think we do make it in. I think, honestly, a little pre-tease, I think we run the table and I think we get in. And I think we host a playoff game, quite frankly. Florida State did have a couple of drives that were a little concerning to me. They drove the length of the field. One of them stalled out because it was an awful fourth down play that they ran, and the other was a field goal, but I'm not going to harp on that too much. I think if the way that our defense is playing right now, I'm gonna go out on a limb and I'm gonna say that we can hang with any team in the country. Now, I don't know if our offense can. I really don't. But with our defense, I think we can hang with any team in the country. And don't tell me NIU. NIU. Our defense played really good against NIU. But we're improving when we need to improve. And the committee has said time and time again, it matters when you are playing your best football. JR, do you think at this time, we are playing our best football?
Are we playing our best football? I would say no. I still think that there is room to improve, and based off our opponent, it's hard to gauge what the best is. I'm not. What do you take from playing against Free Shoe U and a 1-9 football team that, last week I think is the first time ever that the entire state of Florida lost all of their games.
That's right. They went 0-9.
Yeah. So, but back to Dylan's point, statistically, if you want to, you could make an argument that they are. I believe Notre Dame is one of only a handful of teams that is top 10 in offensive and defensive efficiencies, some metric. Yeah. It might be scoring. It might even be scoring. So yeah, that's a very, very good sign. But are we playing our best? I would hope no.
Yeah,
and I don't think so. I don't think we played a very clean game. It was 14-3 at half.
Something like that. Maybe 21. I think we got a late touchdown.
Okay, we got a late touchdown. Jordan Love, he was dropping some passes. No, I don't think we're playing our best.
So the best is yet to come. You could argue that we are. You could argue that we aren't. I think the best is yet to come. I think we're going to be playing our best football against Army and USC. That's when I think we really play our best football and really signify that we belong in the college football playoff. And I think we host a football game in the playoff. All right, before we get out of here, we got some housekeeping. Week 11 in college football. It was a wild, wild week. It was almost like the wild, wild west. We'll start on Friday night with Cal getting its first ACC victory with a 46-36 win at Wake Forest. Man, the Deacons might be looking for a new head coach, Coach Clawson. This would be, I think, 3 straight years under Coach Clawson that they just have not been anything close to competitive. UCLA, go ahead.
Jimmy Clawson.
Oh, yeah.
Jimmy.
Yeah. UCLA upsets Iowa on Friday night, 20-17. JR, you obviously, Kirk Ferentz has been there long before I was even born. Would Iowa ever think about firing this dude?
Not at this point.
They are so hard to watch. Awful. They are awful. Every year, they are so bad, offensively speaking. Ohio State shuts out Purdue 45-0. Georgia Tech knocks off Miami 28-23. We've been saying it. I thought a few weeks ago Miami was a championship contender. I changed my mind. A couple weeks ago, I said they're due for a loss. JR's been saying it for a while. So is Dylan. They've been due for a loss. They got what's coming to them. That was such a dirty play, by the way, when he ripped off his face mask and then came flying in at his head. Man, guess that's what the U is all about. Texas rolls Florida 49-17 in Austin. Ole Miss knocks off Georgia 28-10, something we really didn't need to happen, but it did happen. And Georgia now falls off from number 2. Ole Miss creates some chaos in the college football world now. I hope everybody's done. I hope we're clear on that. It's going to be It's going to be crazy these next few weeks. IU struggles at home, but wins 20-15 over a poor Michigan team. Kansas upsets Iowa State 45-36. Iowa State is in the dumps now. They've lost 2 in a row. They went from Big 12 contenders to let's hope we can make a who gives a shit bowl game coming up in December. Army remains perfect with a 14-3 win versus North Texas. Clemson wins 24-14 at Virginia Tech. Dylan, Clemson falling off the wagon a little bit.
Yeah. They started out rough showing against Georgia. They turned it on, were very hot. They looked very good. They looked like they could have made the playoff. An ACC team that could have made some noise. And then 2 weeks ago, bam, dropped the hammer, smacked them in the face. And then this week they struggled. I mean, that's a tough place to play, but still.
They still have to play South Carolina, and that is a
Oh,
game.
that's a ball game. That's a ball game.
That right now, I'm leaning towards South Carolina in that game. I don't. There's a lot to be had. There's a lot to happen here in the college football world. Colorado controls its path to the college football playoff. They beat Texas Tech in Lubbock 41-27. It's time that we have a little discussion about the Buffaloes. They are second in the Big 12. If they win out, they're heading to the Big 12 championship to take on likely BYU. If they beat BYU, they have the automatic bid to the college football playoff. And that is why I say Colorado controls its path. That is insane to think prime time in a December game. Hey, Notre Dame and Colorado playoff game, huh? Anybody?
If Prime knocks us out, man, we'd be stopping with the Prime jokes.
Can you imagine me if Prime knocks us out of the playoff? Oh God. South Carolina handles Vanderbilt 28-7. Oregon and Tennessee roll their respective opponents, and Alabama blows out and eliminates LSU at night in Death Valley 42-13. And I owe all of you an apology. I owe Logan an apology. He's here imaginally. I was on the Brian Kelly train. I thought he was a phenomenal coach. It is now proven after this 42-13 loss, which I believe is his worst at LSU, that he is only a good coach and cannot win the big game. I've known it for years at Notre Dame, but I wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt. He has better resources, better NIL, better facilities, a way better atmosphere, and he still manages to go 9-3 year after year. I think he went 10-2 in a season maybe at LSU already. It's felt like ages ago since he left, but it's the same old BK, JR. BK gonna BK.
Yeah, I'm afraid BK changed somewhere along the line late at his Notre Dame stop. He stopped being true to himself, and you have seen that. And to put it short, he sold out, and he lost himself, and in doing so, he lost Notre Dame, he lost all of his assistants, and he's basically now down there at LSU
on his own,
alone, by himself. It's kind of sad to see, and I can also say that there's some evidence that also points to that off of the field. The whole changing your voice to act like you fit in, and authentic people don't do that. I don't want to get all political about this, but we've seen a political candidate do that too. Their inauthenticity shows, and people, kind of figure it out. If you're not authentic, so I think he lost his way and he lost a part of himself, and now he's in a really tough spot. That's probably not going to end well for him there either.
Right. I mean,
that's a good take. I don't feel bad for him though. He chased the bag and left us.
Yeah, he did.
He did. But that started when he got to Notre Dame and he started to flirt with the NFL.
The Eagles. It was the
Eagles, the Giants, the Bears, the Browns. All those poorly run NFL teams were poking around at BK because he was turning around Notre Dame. Let's be honest. he didn't inherit a great situation at Notre Dame. He did do some very good things there.
Yes.
But he plateaued there, and he went to a place that he thought he was gaining, even, like you said, better resources, better players, better conference, all of that. And unfortunately, he did gain all of that stuff. He's just not good enough to rise himself to that because he sold his soul and he lost everything and everybody around him.
Right. Before we move on, he could have retired at Notre Dame with a statue. He's the winningest coach in Notre Dame football history. He could have very well retired with a statue outside of Notre Dame Stadium. And he could have kept his respect as well. But now nobody really respects Brian Kelly, especially after what transpired on Saturday night. Missouri survives Oklahoma 30-23 in an absolute wild ending. That's got to be one of the most wild endings to a football game that I have ever seen in my entire life. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. Look up Oklahoma, Missouri highlights. Absolutely incredible the way that game ended. Penn State bounces back 35-6 over Washington. Woohoo, tickle me Sandusky. Boise State hangs on over Nevada 28-21. Virginia stuns Pittsburgh 24-19 at Heinz Field. I know it's not called Heinz Field anymore, but it will always be called Heinz Field to me. And lastly, BYU survives Utah 22-21 in a game that ended in controversy. In fact, after the game, Utah's AD came to the podium instead of Kyle Whittingham and gave a little presser to the Big 12, trying to get their attention. That is your Week 11 recap. Hey, we are back tomorrow to preview our final home game of the 2024 season, where the Fighting Irish will take on the Cavaliers of Virginia. It's Senior Day in South Bend.